Hello, I'm Christine, I'm 26, I live in Manhattan, and I've been blonde for 2 years. So this video is for people with dark hair who are thinking about bleaching their hair and becoming blonde, or for people who already have bleached hair that just might want some tips on how to keep it healthy. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience being blonde, give some tips and advice on how to maintain it, and also talk about some of the pros and cons of having bleached hair. And of course, at the end, we're going to answer the very important question, do blondes really have more fun? And this video has timestamps, so feel free to skip to parts that might interest you. But there are some really good tips scattered throughout, so please watch it in full if you can. And with that, let us get into the video. Alright, so in order for me to be helpful to those of you who are watching this video, I'll need to give you a comprehensive understanding of my hair's life story. So I fortunately have always had very healthy, thick, and voluminous hair. I never really did anything in terms of upkeep. I would just use like Pantene or whatever, some random cute shampoo conditioner duo that I'd find at like Walgreens or at like H Mart. And I also never took any supplements. I never used any real hair care products besides just shampoo and conditioner. And I would shampoo and condition my hair every single night, which I now know is really bad for my hair. But honestly, before bleaching my hair, that's just what I did because that's all I ever really knew, and it worked for me just fine. It never really gave me any problems, and I'm really thankful for that. Now that being said, I also never used heat products to style my hair. I also never even blow dried my hair. I would always just towel dry it and let it air dry for about an hour or so. So the lack of heat may have contributed to my very healthy hair. Also, just generally, I do drink a lot of water, I sleep really well, and I have really good bowel movements. So I think those are also worth mentioning, just as sort of maybe behind the scenes things about my habits that may have contributed to my very healthy hair. Now, I did dye my hair several times throughout my lifetime before I went blonde. So like in 4th grade, I had those ugly yellow highlights that everyone did. In middle school, I did that like orangey brown that everyone also did at that age. And in high school, I did the wine red that everyone was doing, like all the K-pop idols were doing it circa like 2011. And in college at some point, I also dyed my hair like a medium dark brown. And then I dyed my hair all black once at some point in grad school. All of these, except for the wine red, were done at home from a box. And none of these involved any bleach. And my hair was not noticeably damaged at all, really, after any of those procedures. And every time I did change my hair color, it was always at least 2 years after the previous time that I had done anything to it. And that wasn't intentional at all, but looking back, I always did leave an ample amount of time between each, I guess, chemical treatment. And I think that's also why my hair was very healthy, even though it technically was not virgin hair, and I had done things to it throughout my lifetime. And so I've always wanted to try blonde hair, but 1, it felt too daring for me, and 2, I knew it would be really, really expensive. So I would have wanted to go blonde at some point when I was still in college or maybe even grad school, but at the time, just the money and the maintenance wasn't feasible for my student lifestyle. And that again was very unique to me because if I went blonde, I knew that I was only interested in doing the full length of my hair. And I would need root touch-ups every 6 weeks because I personally don't really like ombre or balayage hair on myself, which I'd say are slightly lower maintenance options if you did want to make your hair very light. But I was not interested in that, and basically I had expensive tastes and I was too poor and lazy to commit to that. And then COVID happened. So in March 2020, at that point, I was done with grad school and I had been working full-time at my first big girl job. And then we were all sent home. So then I was working from home, and in August of 2020, after several months of the lockdown and a guarantee that I would not be returning to office anytime soon, that just gave me the extra kick to be like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm just going to go blonde. So the job I had at the time was in financial services, so the culture and dress code were pretty formal, and I had thought that my dreams of ever going blonde were dead, but COVID and work from home actually changed that for the better. So I went to a salon in the Soho Nolita area in New York City called Double Q, and they're an Asian salon that specializes in coloring. And I just looked on Yelp for people who could color Asian hair really well, and I found the salon Double Q and my awesome colorist there, who I have been going to for the entirety of my blonde career. So I would say definitely do your research and read as many reviews as possible before you choose where to go. And ideally, if the stylist that you're interested in has done people's hair in the shade that you want, that's also a really good thing to look out for, because for me, the stylist that I went with, she did blonde really well on a few other people in some of the reviews that I saw, and that's what made me decide to go with her. So when I went completely blonde for the first time, it took, I think it was just 2 bleaches and 7 hours of hard work from my colorist. I will say she did not have an assistant. Normally people do have an assistant. There's like 2 people working on your hair at the same time. And then I think that would have maybe just taken 5 hours if that was the case. And just as an FYI, root touch-ups take about 3 to 4 hours, also depending whether or not you get a haircut when you go. So that's kind of what you can expect for how long it might take, and how long the root touch-ups also take. Now the next thing we're going to talk about, which I'm sure many of you are curious about, is the cost. So when I went completely blonde for the first time, it was $600 including tip. And root touch-ups, which I typically get about every 6 to 8 weeks, are about $360 with tip. And that may sound like a lot, but this was actually a really good deal, at least where I live. I did some research, and some other places you end up paying like $800 to $1,000 for the first time when you make everything blonde. And root touch-ups, I would then imagine, would be like $400, $500, $600 every couple of months. So for me, the price that I paid I thought was pretty fair. Either way, no matter how cheap it is in your area, it's still a bi-monthly commitment of at least a couple of $100s every time you go. So it is definitely not cheap. So now I'm going to talk about some of the pros of being blonde, which is my favorite part of this video. I absolutely love being blonde, if you couldn't already tell. I just think it complements my skin really well, and I personally think I look much better with light hair than dark hair for some reason, and all of my friends and my boyfriend agree with this, so I'm kind of just stuck with it. So one of the biggest unexpected pros for me about being blonde was that having light hair really expanded my wardrobe. So lighter hair made pastel colored clothing look so much better on me. And I'm someone who would only wear black, gray, white, maybe navy if I was feeling adventurous. But after going blonde, I found out that bright and pastel colored clothing actually looked really good on me, and I thought it personally looked really good with my hair in a way that it never did when I had dark hair for some reason. And maybe it's just some dumb psychological thing, but I do think that now wearing brighter clothes that I would not dare to wear in the past made me a much happier person, and I just get so many compliments, and I guess I could say that being blonde literally just like brightened my life and added color to everything. So another pro related to what I just said, if your base blonde is kind of similar to mine, like a true beach blonde, you actually have the perfect canvas to try a ton of different fun colors. I went pink for a while, which I absolutely loved, and the best part is that it all fades back to blonde. And in my case, so when I did pink, I started off with kind of like a deep rosy pink, and with each wash, the color became more pastel pinky until it eventually came full circle all the way back to just my normal blonde. And this shade you see right now has had no color change since the last time I went pink. It just kind of took care of itself. And just as an aside, I never had to do any maintenance on my color, as in my blonde. I never had to use purple shampoo. I never had any issues with brassiness either. And when I went pink, I did use a pink conditioner just to hold the pink for a little bit longer because it does fade very quickly. But that's it. And when I eventually ran out of that conditioner, again, after several weeks of washing, my hair just came back to my original shade of blonde. So yeah, you could do silver, mushroom beige, lilac, pink, rainbow, whatever. As long as you have that bleached base, you have a ton of flexibility on the colors that you can do. So to those who already have bleached hair, go crazy with all the colors while you still have that base, because you won't be able to do any of this once you decide to go back to dark hair. And another pro is not having to wash your hair often. So now that my roots are longer, I'll wash my hair like twice a week, maybe even like 3 times a week. But normally I'd only have to wash it once a week and I'd be totally fine. And so after a lifetime of washing my hair every single night, my lazy self does consider this a pro. It's pretty convenient. And a final pro about any type of bleached hair is that it gives you a lot of volume. Since it literally dries out your hair and kind of like turns it into straw, it does give you some extra volume. And I have some Asian haired friends who really like this because normally they're born with like very silky straight hair that is very difficult to style, but then having the extra volume makes it really easy and like malleable, and if it wants to hold a curl, it will hold a curl, unlike some virgin hair where it's really hard to do that. For me, this doesn't really apply, but I do like the extra floof that it has given me, and I've had a lot of breakage, but because of the volume, I feel like it kind of just looks the same as when I had brown hair. And now we're going to get into the cons of having bleached hair. So obviously the cost is a huge con. The initial go when you change everything to blonde is a big hit. For me, like I said, it was $600, and not to mention the root touch-ups you have to get every couple of months, and also the products that you'll need for the maintenance. And you might be thinking, oh, okay, well, it's probably just a high quality shampoo, conditioner, and like hair oil, right? No. I'm also talking about like silk pillowcases, a different hairbrush, multiple sprays and serums for your ends, and also other ones for your scalp, vitamins and supplements depending on what you're into. Yeah, it's expensive. And the next con about having bleached hair is the time investment that you need to make. So if you have a 9-to-5 job, you may have to take days off to go to the salon when you need to touch up your roots. And even though you won't be washing your hair as often, you're going to be spending more time very carefully shampooing and conditioning your hair on the days that you do wash it. You'll also have to spend extra time after every wash applying your post-wash products and blow drying your hair, which takes forever when you have bleached hair. Another con is just the damage. Your hair will not be the same once you bleach it. It can still look great, don't get me wrong, but you do need to be a lot more careful with it. You have to be very careful when you handle your hair, when you touch it, when you brush it, and it's never going to shine the same as just virgin hair. It just won't. Another point related to damage is that overly processed hair can change in texture. So for me personally, I used to have super wavy hair, but with the multiple rounds of bleaching and toning, my hair is a lot straighter than it used to be. I can show you right now. So the waves are kind of coming back now that I haven't had a touch-up in like months. But yes, I do prefer my natural hair texture, and I am a living example of how bleaching can make you lose your curls. They will come back if you stop bleaching, but if you keep doing it without a break, it will become a lot straighter. Alright, so I just came back from my bathroom with some of my hair products. So I'll start with shampoo and conditioner. The only shampoo and conditioner that I've ever repurchased was from Prose. So Prose, if you don't know, is a subscription service where you take a quiz and they'll formulate your unique shampoo and conditioner for your hair needs. I will say right off the bat that it is expensive, and I actually stopped my Prose subscription because of this. I'm on my last bottles right now. So this is what the shampoo looks like. It has your name on it, and it's like kind of cool because it's personalized, and the conditioner is the same size. So as you can see, it's really small. With the membership, one of these bottles is $24. So every time you want to, buy a new set of shampoo and conditioner, it's over $50. So it is really expensive, but in terms of just pure quality, I do think this is the best shampoo and conditioner that I've used. And so after I wash, shampoo and condition my hair, I'll go in with like a leave-in conditioner. I used to use one that my stylist recommended for me, and I would purchase it at my salon, but it was like $40, pretty expensive. So instead of using that, I switched over to this Fanola leave-in conditioner, which I do like. It's like this orange one. I got it on Amazon for like $9, so I think it's really good for the price, and I've been using this for months, so definitely worth the price. And then the next product I do want to recommend is just this normal conditioner that you just use in the shower. It's also by Fanola, and it's the Fiber Fix Bond Connector. You may have heard other people talk about this too, and it's like a perfect match to my sweater. I also have a product that I spritz directly onto my scalp, and it's this Da-Leaf Chlorella Better Root Hair Tonic. It's a Korean product, and I bought it off of, where did I buy it off of? Oh, I bought it off of the Global Olive Young website, and it kind of like makes your scalp feel very like minty, I guess, if that makes sense. And I do think this makes a difference. Apparently scalp care is really important, so I did want to get like a specialized scalp product. I have used other ones in the past, but this is the one I've been using for over a year, and I really like it. I think it's pretty good. And the last product in terms of like applicator products is this Orotherapy Diamante Puro hair oil. It lasts forever. It's a little bit expensive. I think it's in the $30 range, but you don't need that much, and it smells really, really good. I like it a lot. And in terms of other products that are not things that you directly apply onto your hair, I will say that having a silk pillowcase really does make a difference. It just reduces the friction between the hair on your head and like when you're lying down sleeping, so it can prevent breakage, and it's just a lot more soft on your hair. Another thing I'll recommend is the Tangle Teaser hairbrush. I think I bought mine on Amazon for maybe like $7. I think there are actually other brands who do the same thing, but essentially just any of those brushes that have like a very particular looking type of teeth. So I'll just put a picture here so you know what I'm talking about. I think I have like the pink one. It's like millennial pink. Definitely worth the price, and you do not want to be brushing your hair with just a normal hairbrush because it's very rough, and if it pulls on your hair, it will likely break. So definitely get a special hairbrush that's meant for people with bleached hair. And in terms of supplements, I have tried a few supplements for my hair. Like I mentioned, I did try the Pros supplements that I don't really think made much of a difference. So the only ones that I will recommend are the pink like hair, skin, and nail gummies that I think like every girl I know just has them, whether or not they have bleached hair. And honestly, tastes really good, pretty affordable, and it's just healthy. I do feel like it has made a difference in the quality of my hair. I can't be too sure because I'm always doing other things to try to keep my hair healthy, but I do feel like that was more effective than the Pros supplements that I took when I was still on the subscription. And so I've tried and used a bunch of other products, whether that be like shampoos and conditioners, things you apply onto your hair, even supplements, but the ones that I mentioned are the only ones that I do recommend. It's a lot of trial and error, and everyone's different, so what worked for me might not work for you. And like I said, even for myself, I still haven't found the perfect shampoo and conditioner. The Pros one is a bit of an exception, but I would really like to find one that doesn't require a subscription and one that is not as expensive. So it just takes time to figure out what kind of products work well for you and are also within your budget. And finally, just some things to consider and other advice that I have. It is definitely a commitment. So I believe having really broken, crappy, and damaged hair is the worst, no matter how pretty the color is. So if you're not going to take care of your bleached hair, it's better to just stick with your natural hair color, or perhaps a color that doesn't involve bleaching. And overall, my simple advice to anyone who may be on the fence about bleaching their hair: So if your hair is relatively healthy, so you don't really have any split ends naturally, and it's not overly processed, I would say that you should just do it, because hair grows back. So even if you hate the way bleached hair looks on you, you can always go back to your normal hair color. But chances are you might end up really liking it. You'll be introduced to a different color palette of clothing, a different color palette for the makeup that you do, and it's just fun. So especially if you're in your 20s, it is a time of discovery, and when your body is probably the most resilient, so you probably don't want to go into your 40s regretting not trying the blonde when you were younger. So I would say just do your research to find a good colorist, and make an appointment like next weekend. Okay, time for a plot twist. So if you've been glaring at my super outgrown roots this entire video and just like questioning my credibility, there is a reason for this. So ironically enough, I am going to stop being blonde. So you're probably very confused and thinking, oh my god, this girl just talked for like however many minutes about how much she loves being blonde. She's been blonde for 2 years. I trusted her. What the heck? So I won't immediately be getting rid of the blonde. I will still keep it, I think maybe for another year. It really depends on my health though. So my doctor told me I'll have to stop being blonde because the chemicals, they do seep into your hair, and different people have different levels of sensitivity regarding that. I happen to be someone who's more sensitive to that apparently. So my doctor told me I will have to stop, but perhaps if things are looking good, I can just take a break for a few months, which is what I have been doing. And that's why I have not been to the salon in like 4 months, which is really bad. Under normal circumstances, like I said, you should go like 2 months, every 2 months max, or every 2 months at the minimum. Yeah. But yes, so best case scenario, I can continue to bleach my roots for like years on end, honestly, is what I think would be the best case scenario. However, the reality is that I'm not super hopeful that my hair and body will be able to take it for that much longer. And there are studies about hair bleach, hair dyeing, and that being kind of related to like carcinogens and getting cancer later, which is not what I want. But like I said, I have been on a break, and I will be finally bleaching these roots in about 1 month from now. So I will have taken about a almost 6-month break, I believe, from bleaching my roots, and I think that was ample time. But I did feel the need to mention it here that I don't plan on having blonde hair forever. I really wish I could, but that's probably just not going to be possible for me. And now we must answer the question, now that we're at the end of the video, do blondes really have more fun? I can't say for natural blondes, but for unnatural blondes, such as myself, I believe that perhaps being in the state of mind where you are open to making a very drastic change about your appearance may also be correlated to being in the same state of mind where you're open to new experiences and overall perhaps feeling a little bit more adventurous. So blondes indeed may have more fun. It is not causation, however, I do think there is some correlation. Well, you know who has even more fun? People who wear wigs. And I've considered actually buying a wig, because with that, you could change your hair color and texture every single day. You could have bangs one day and then not the next day. And you could have like pink hair one day and then like black hair the next day. So what's more fun than that, right? Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it informative, and I hope that I have convinced you to go blonde. Okay, bye-bye.